School classmates, and today's topic is clothing that you wore, clothing that you liked, and clothing that you disliked during your teenage years. And in the Evite invitation, I invited y'all to bring some photographs to share on your phone or stuff, but without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it over to Joanne. And Joanne, tell us about the clothing in your teenage years.
Okay.
And you use the microphone. Why? For the camera, okay? Because if you don't use the microphone, it will not pick up if you're a soft talker, okay? So put it close to your mouth like that. Okay, Joanne, tell us about your clothing from teenage years.
Okay. So I'm here. I'm not just a back of a head. So normally I'm a back of a head, but hello. But anyway, I was on the cusp of turning 13, so I was in 6th grade, and my mother always took us school shopping one at a time. I went, my sister went, my brother went. So we were in a store that we always went to, and I saw on the rack a pair of olive green wide wale hip huggers that were bell bottoms, and I just had to have these pants. And believe it or not, I was a chubby kid, and my mother was always, putting me on a diet. So we were in the dressing room, and I'm putting on the pants, and my mother, all of a sudden, in this loud voice with her Brooklyn accent, said, "I don't know, Joe, you can't gain an ounce." And I'm thinking, everybody in the store hears this, whether or not, and of course, my brain is saying, "Ma, could you have said that a little louder?" But of course, I didn't, say anything to her because she would have knocked me into next week. So I put the pants on, and they fit. They were, a little snug, but I was on a diet, So this is probably like early September, and you know how it is, you want to wear your new clothes, and you kind of wait till it gets cold, but you just want to wear them so bad, you wear them when it's a little warm out still. But I put them on with my a cranberry colored turtleneck, and I go to school, and I'm in 6th grade, and something drops on the floor, and I bend down to pick it up, and you hear, so all the way from the hips down to the crotch, just Joanne's underpants are showing.
Thank God you were wearing them.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. So I was mortified. I had to go to the principal's office, call my mother. She in turn called my father at work. He had to leave work, come home, pick up a new outfit, and carry it to school for me. So anyway, so that was really embarrassing, but I'll never forget those pants. And one other thing I want to show you is this top. Now, I was also on the cusp of not being a teenager. I was 22 years old, 1977.
Wow!
I was working in a store called Airport at the Livingston Mall in Livingston, New Jersey. And I loved it. And it came with a pair of palazzo pants. I just adored it. So anyway, I remember when they first came into the store and they were hanging on a rack, and a group of teenagers came, and teenage girls, and they all ran over to this outfit, and they said, "Oh man, that's so bad." And I went over, I said, "I don't know, I really like that clothing." They goes, "Oh no, that means we like it." And I was like, I said, right, bad is good. And I said to my coworker, do you know that bad means good now? So it was like my first evidence of a generational shift that I was 22 and didn't understand what these 18-year-old girls were referring to. So anyway, that's my story. And I have a photo of myself in my velvet gown for my junior prom, right there. And my mother had a matching velvet cape.
And this is not Matt.
No, that's Bob.
Bob.
Bob Golian. But anyway, so she had a wrap made for me so I wouldn't be cold. But anyway.
And I like your peace signs on your
Oh yeah.
on your scarf.
So this actually came from Woodstock, New York.
Oh,
This is also not that new anymore, but you can find them around. But this is authentic Woodstock, New York peace signs.
But tell us when you're finished.
I'm
Hey,
finished.
give it up. There you go, Kathy, and put the microphone close because I want to be able to record. Okay, Kathy, tell us about clothing from your teenage years.
Oh goodness, I was a clothes hound, or either my mother was. I'm not real sure, because she bought my clothes. So I was always looking very stylish. I don't really remember too much in particular. There was the John Romaine pocketbooks, the Saddle Oxford shoes, Villager clothes.
Absolutely.
And so of course I would have all these matching outfits and everything. And I guess one story I remember, it was 7th grade. Girls always wore dresses. I didn't know there was a dress code. And this was when pantsuits first came out. So I put on the best looking, put together pantsuit. It was actually red, white, and blue. I had a scarf and shoes and pocketbook to match. And my mother goes, now if they send you home, I'm not coming to pick you up. Even though she was a stay-at-home mom.
Be warned.
So, needless to say, I got to school and I got sent home, and the assistant principal had to take me home so I could change.
Was it
What was wrong with the
Oh, it was a pantsuit.
Oh, pantsuit.
So,
Short pants.
here's what I did. I put on my shortest mini skirt that barely covered my rear end, and no tights. I just went. Well, I did have underwear on, but we had a wonderful teacher, Mrs. Boatwright and Miss Deck.
Yeah.
So she would put me up at the front and give me a towel and make me put the towel over my knees.
That's so funny.
But I loved clothes back then. I still do. But I can remember going for a whole school year. I said, I'm going to wear something different every day.
Wow.
And I did it. Now, I might have taken a black skirt and worn it a few times, but it would be a whole different outfit. So that was my, I guess I liked clothes more than school. So I'm finished.
Great. Neil, tell us about the clothing.
Where's your pictures?
I
Memo.
didn't read the memo like I was supposed to.
Neil, tell us about your clothing as a teenager, what you wore, what you liked, disliked, and
Okay, well, unlike Kathy, my mother would not buy me any of those clothes, or like Joanne, I guess I was the oldest of 5, and she just said, I'm not going to set a precedent and buy these name brands, so she would not. I was trying to find my tribe because clearly I didn't fit in with the ones who were wearing Villager and Ladybug and had John Romaine and all of that. So to start with, I mostly wore some knockoff thing that was wide bell bottoms and stripes or whatever. I brought a picture, low cut, hip hugger type stuff. But as I realized I wasn't going to fit in well with that group, then I decided to find a different group. And this is the group that did not style their hair. The girls just wore it parted in the middle, perfectly straight, no makeup, t-shirt, and a pair of faded jeans. Usually the t-shirt was tie-dyed, and the jeans were wide bell bottom.
pause for a second. What's incoming,
Right,
John?
I got a margarita pizza, so some fresh basil. our house. Thank you, John. Cheese on there, the mozzarella, and cherry tomatoes.
Back to you, Neil, you're doing well.
okay.
Enjoy.
Okay, so, then I started wearing jeans with holes in them and ripped, and they're quite in style again. And so today, I actually wore a pair of bell-bottom jeans. They're coming back in, so I will show you later, when we stand up for the photo. But yeah, and I did bring a couple of pictures on the phone. So there's one with my hair all nice and curled and short, and
Put on pause, what's in
This is
comment?
garlic green beans coming y'all's way.
Great.
And the other picture is t-shirt and jeans, which is my usual look. Okay, I'm finished.
Give it up for Neil. Karen, tell us about your teenage years and your clothing.
Well, I learned to sew at an early age. So, and my dad worked, his part-time job at night was cleaning a drapery making factory. So he would be able to bring home the scrap pieces, which were usually big pieces of fabric.
What a great idea.
So I would make my clothes from the drapery fabric.
Wow.
So no one, my thing was nobody would have anything that I had. And I would make the big, yes, I would make the big elephant legs, because that's what was really popular back then, the elephant legs. I didn't like the bell bottoms because they weren't big enough, so I made the elephant legs. So I had made this one outfit, and my mom and dad worked at what was then Officers and Service, which is a
Yeah, we used to buy our furniture from that.
and so, and then we would go to Woolworths, me and my sister, and we would go from Officers and Service over to Woolworths to eat. Well, that little street right back there where you would cross over at the light, I had on one of my favorite outfits. It's green, these big green flowers and leaves that I had made. And I'm getting ready to run across the street, and I slip and fall. I step into my pants. And my sister starts laughing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, the light's gonna change. So I stand up and I fall again.
Oh, no.
And so she's on the ground laughing. And she's like, come on, hurry, the light's changing. And I stand up and I fall one more time. And it was really funny. I didn't get hurt. But the thing is, the light was changing and she was laughing. And we were thinking, these people that are coming are thinking that.
Put on pause.
All right,
What did
spaghetti
you bring?
pomodoro coming at you. That's our house. So our red sauce, no meat. Very good. Not quite a marinara, but marinara without the anchovies and all the extra stuff.
Aaron, back to you. You're doing
So-
great, doing great.
But I did make a lot of my clothes with bell bottoms. I did find, there was one shop off of Whitlock Avenue that I found a blouse that I was willing to pay $20 for back in the 70s. But it was, and I kept that blouse until it was literally falling apart, and I cut off the pieces of it that I liked.
It's a girl, man. That thing is really cheap, right?
So I really enjoyed sewing and making my clothes, even though we did. But you have a
I
question?
have a question. So
Yes,
you made all your clothes.
I made most of my clothes. Mom would buy clothes, but I had the opportunity to be able to make whatever I
That
wanted.
is just fantastic.
She would buy. She shopped at Joanne shops in Boat Square and at Saws because my brother worked at Saws, so we got a really good discount from Saws clothing. But yeah, so she bought clothes from Joanne shops and from Saws. But I love making my clothes.
Do you still do that?
Well, I stopped making my own clothes only, well, I'm kind of making them. But as I got older, my sister and my girlfriend all wore the same size, so they would come over, see what I had made, and they would take it, and then they'd go buy me something. I mean, I still, ended up with good clothing, but they would wear what I had made, and they would go and buy me something.
Okay.
That is a compliment. That's an incredible compliment.
Thank you, and I'm finished.
Carol, tell us about your clothing as a teenager.
Well, I had them on. That was about it. I mean, I didn't have anything, we wore the bell bottoms, we had the platform shoes, all that kind of stuff like that. I remember, because I'm the oldest of 8, we didn't have a lot. So, and my parents worked for people that did have. And I had gotten me a hand-me-down shirt with the little alligator on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, I was trying to take the alligator off the shirt. Because I didn't want anybody to think, I was part of something, elaborate or something like that. So I'm trying to take the alligator off the shirt. And I didn't know that it was okay. But I had bought me like the silk type pants that were yellow.
Wow.
I mean, because when you go to high school, there was that best dress thing, but they changed that. They took that away. So I'm dressed every day. You can't hear me? Okay. But, all right. Gosh, it's too loud. I'm gonna have to talk softer now. Anyway, I had the little pants, and everything was just all, dressed up, and everything was just nice. And I got something on the pants, so I dyed the pants orange. Orange pants. Can you imagine? But that was the 70s though, right?
Yeah.
Yep, so I had a pair of orange pants. I forgot what I matched it with, but because like I said, I got something on the yellow pants, so I had to do something different. And they became orange. And I remember as a young kid working, and then my mother I would give her money when I worked, and she would go down to Belk's or something like that and buy the little short pants and stuff, the little outfits, match the outfits, because she could get a whole bunch of stuff for just a few dollars. And then we would take a summer trip with the church to Florida. So I'd have all new outfits every day. So that was good. But that's basically it. Thank you.
Give it up.
In the middle of your bike.
Martha, tell us about your clothing and as a teenager, and you're going to pass around some photographs if you have her. Go ahead. You've got the floor.
Whose phone is this? It's mine. Okay.
You don't
recognize me?
I did. I know that one. Okay. I have a million photographs like that.
I should have brought those photographs. But I did remember that you were wanting to talk about clothing, and I thought that I had saved a few things up in my attic. My daughter is not happy because I generally mail them to her periodically and say, I saved these for you. She does not want them. But I'm afraid I was also a clothes holic, and I was so into the Villager and Ladybug, John Romaine, all that stuff. And Mother had to be very cautious, but she would get us, like one little thing, my sister and I. But my sister and she did not see eye to eye often. I was more of a yes, Mother person back then, but she and Mother were always at odds. And I can remember we'd go to Cobb Center, Rich's Cobb Center, which was our favorite. And she had already bought what she was going to buy for us, and my sister saw a John Romaine purse and said, well, I must have that. I really have to have it. And Mother said, well, you've already gotten your one thing, and that's not it, so you're not getting it. So she said, well, I'm just going to take it. Don't let my sister know I told you this story. So Mother said, well, okay, you just do that. And we'll be waiting outside for you, and they'll be bringing you out, the police. And so, Mother and I walked on to the front, and she stayed back, and we just waited. But pretty soon she came without the purse. But I always remember that parenting trick. I thought, all right, well, you just dare them to do what they just said they would do, unless it's, jump off the cliff, I guess, or something.
Yeah, that's funny.
But anyways, but she was kind enough to get us one thing, and so I was into the Villager, and you would get, the sweater to go with the
skirt, and you get the matching knee socks.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find all of that, but I brought the skirt. So hang
Oh,
on.
my goodness. Hey, Carol, pass the mic for a quick sec.
All right, while Martha's getting the skirt, I am going to hijack because I went with her to Cobb Center to try on clothes one time. And so we're in some highfalutin shop, and she's got on this cute little matching ladybug outfit with the skirt and the sweater, and she goes, "Do you think Ken would like me in this?"
I do not remember that.
But
But this could
I'm going to
possibly.
hijack a little bit.
Okay.
Ken would like her in it and out of it.
Not back then, surely.
When he saw me get this down and bring it from the attic, he said, "Are you gonna wear that?" And I said, "I don't think I can get into it."
I bet you still fits.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know.
okay.
And it would definitely not cover my rear, probably.
Look how
Skirts, I have
Look
one
how
of those.
pretty that is.
Love it.
That is
The
short.
little pin and everything.
I remember.
I had the knee socks, I had the sweater.
Now,
Sure, pass it on.
Jermaine question, is that considered a mini skirt?
I don't know. Would you say, it was just,
I mean, hold it up.
it was the,
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was considered a mini skirt. It was just what everybody wore back then.
Yeah, that's a dressy
The
skirt.
mini skirt would definitely be just right under
Right
bottom.
there.
And I just remember as I got older and we were moving from house to house and I was cleaning out, I'm like, I love this. I cannot get rid of
You
this.
should wear it.
70 years later,
What are you going to do with this?
So, this very day and time, you predicted this would be
I
happening.
don't know that I predicted that.
Have a
but there you
retro
go.
party.
A retro-
Throw a retro party of the
Well,
70s.
maybe my little granddaughter could get into it. I don't know.
It's a little cold for it today.
Yeah.
What is the make of that?
It's a
Is
villager.
that a
Oh,
village?
The tag is cool just to look at.
I love
that
it.
is-
Yeah, y'all can pass it around, but that's my show and tell.
Oh, I love that.
Kathy, the subject matter is clothing that you wore in high school or in clothing that you liked and disliked, and just give us an example. Go ahead, Kathy, you got the floor. And hold the microphone close.
Okay, I was the oldest of 5 kids, and my parents did not have much money. My mom stayed home. My dad drove us, he had just started driving a semi for a different company. And we didn't have much, we just, whatever clothes my mom could get, that's what we wore. And I wasn't really into all of the brand names and all that kind of stuff. And I was just starting to, we moved to Georgia when I was in the 6th grade. So by high school and everything, I was just starting to come
Kathy,
out
a little bit
and
closer to your mouth. You're
Oh.
soft talking.
sorry, come out and get, friends and everything. Cause like the first year, I wouldn't even come out of the house.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't want to be here. I wanted to be back in Virginia where we moved from with my grandparents and the rest of the family. But after that first year, forget it. I stayed out then. I stayed at the pool all during the summer. Didn't even come back home. So my clothes were just, odd men, mixed match. But I started babysitting. So my mom let me keep all of my babysitting money that year. And I guess it was from my freshman year, I bought all new clothes. And I can't remember the name of the store, up on the square. Because she took me to the square. I
Kathy.
think it was Joanne's.
Kathy, put it on pause. What's incoming?
This is
John?
king salmon with red island peas.
Ooh.
Honey lemon vinaigrette is gonna be on top.
Great.
Wow.
Back to you, Kathy. You have the floor. Continue to hold the microphone close to
Okay.
your mouth.
Try to hold it a little bit closer.
Yeah, that's good.
So I do believe it was the Joanne shop.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't remember all of the clothes that I bought, but usually my money went to buying things for my baby sister. So, I remember getting, I don't know, it was probably a Johnny Romaine purse. I remember getting that. And I had this, the one thing that I remember is this red coat that was like, I guess the fake leather or whatever, but it was real shiny, a red shiny coat. And I just loved that. And I can't, and then bell bottoms. I know I had bell bottoms, and there were white bell bottoms and a striped tunic top. I'm pretty sure I bought both of those from the store because we could wear the tunic tops. You know, you if you wore the bell bottoms or wore pants, you had to wear a tunic top. I don't know if y'all remember that or not. Yeah.
Kathy, put it on pause. This is Greg.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
How we doing?
Good.
Wonderful.
Greg,
Excellent.
you were slammed last night.
Yeah.
You were so, we walked back, so busy.
It was great.
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
I'd be a nervous wreck. I couldn't do it.
You get used to it.
I can't-
I'd be a nervous wreck trying to sit in front of a computer all day to type up something, specifically something for, I'm sure, as detail oriented as he was.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I couldn't do
You're
it.
absolutely correct.
But
I wouldn't be able to stand up in front of a courtroom and do that. I'd go.
well, we each have our own gifts. And
That's
Exactly.
now,
Exactly.
tell us about your restaurant, because not everybody here knows you.
I think everybody does. I think everybody's making
Well, I'm giving you an opportunity.
Okay.
Tell us
It's okay.
something.
No, actually, I gotta run. I've got a small leak in my basement next door. I gotta go check out. So
Oh,
I just want to make sure everyone's all right. Your pies are gonna be out in just a minute,
Okay. We're
and
good.
I'm gonna do my pitch now because I'm not gonna be able to afterwards because of said leak. When you get the check, you're gonna get little presenter. I mean, you're gonna get little cards that come out, cute little blonde on it. Yes, that's my daughter. I don't know how she got blonde because both my wife and I have dark hair. You don't ask? No.
Don't ask
But
his wife.
as much as I've tried to coach her, Matt's already heard this one. She went to the dark side. She kind of went, but she went bad. She's selling crack.
Girl Scout
Girl
cookies.
Scout, yeah.
It's Girl Scout cookie time. So please scan the QR code when it comes out. Order some cookies. Joanne already did. Very, very gracious, very generous.
$90 worth.
I want her to go to Disney World.
Money
Disney,
Yeah,
right?
yep. She goes to Disney and she sells 2,000 boxes. So,
Okay, well, wait, how old is she?
8. 8 years.
And where's her true?
Canton.
Canton, okay.
Canton, yeah.
And
You won't
then
see
what-
her probably next week outside on
Selling.
Saturday.
Selling.
So, selling. Yeah.
Oh, yes,
So, yeah.
okay, well, make sure we get that
Yes.
QR code.
And again, thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
Kathy, back to you. Microphone close to your mouth. Continue.
Okay. Gotta remember where I left off. You know, that's the
red
thing.
coat.
Red
Red
coat,
coat.
yes, yes. So the red coat and the purse and the white bell bottoms and the tunic top that was striped. And the other thing that I remember, one of my uncles would, I would usually wear bell bottoms when I would go back to visit, you know. And then of course the rather short jean shorts too. Because I did, you know, like to wear whatever I could get that would look decent, you know. And I was always very particular about my hair. It had to be like, well, straight in
Yeah.
the part in the middle and straight down.
Straight hair.
Yes, straight hair. And I always got in trouble for making sure that I was combing my hair in class because it was, you know, I had out the brush and the comb and it couldn't be out of place at all. But my uncle would call me his little hippie because of my bell bottoms. And
We all were.
yes, yes.
And what a cute little hippie you were.
Thank you. But and so that's about it. We didn't have much, and I just did,
Well,
and I didn't feel, you know, any different, and I didn't try to be any different than
we love
what
you the way you are. Give it up.
Thank you.
Now, Hannah, you're from a different generation.
Yes, I am.
What you wore in high school, I mean, in teenage years,
Okay.
what you wore and what you liked and disliked.
Yeah,
take it away.
what decade was it?
Okay, so my teenage years were, I'd say 2006 to 2010. Sorry, I'm so young.
I was older
Yes.
than you.
Not even the 1900s.
Yeah, but one of the things I absolutely detested growing up as a teenager was Easter Sunday dresses. And my mom, and I'm sure many of you grew up to when you went to church on Sunday, you wore your best clothes. You wore stockings. You wore, you know, the cute Mary Jane shoes. And in 2006, I had to explain to my mother that people didn't wear that anymore. Not as teenagers. It was kind of embarrassing because in my mind, that's what I would wear as an 8-year-old, a 7-year-old, a 6-year-old. But when you're 14 and 15, it's just not cool. So I just remember having a lot of arguments on Sunday mornings with my mother and telling her, no, I'm not wearing my Easter dress to Mass today. I want to wear a nice shirt and jeans. And so there were several weeks where I was left at home and I didn't go to Mass, and I'd show up about a month or two later, and Father John, who was our priest out in Conyers, would say, where have you been? You have not been in Mass, because we were very Catholic. And I said, well, Father John, I haven't been able to wear blue jeans to church, so sadly, I was left at home, but we have mended and we have moved on. So, yeah, I would say wearing the Easter dresses to Mass at 15 and 16. Did not like. But my favorite thing to wear, and I wish I'd brought it, and I wish I'd read the email in more detail, was my Letterman jacket in high school. I went to a small private Christian school in Jasper County, Georgia, in Monticello, and they had very traditional Letterman jackets for cheerleaders. I haven't seen a cheerleading jacket from Marietta High School, but mine had a flap, and it was white, and in blue lettering and cursive it said cheerleader. And I remember being in 9th grade thinking, I have to get one of those. So in 10th grade, I signed up to be a football cheerleader and a basketball cheerleader so I could letter and I could get a jacket. And it's at home in my hall closet, and I love it. And it's still one of my... I can actually. It's a size small, and I'm a size medium now. I try it on every now and then just to feel nostalgic, but I will keep it forever because I love it and I'm so proud of it. So give it to Pearl, me and my daughter. But I'm trying to think if there's anything else I love. I love to wear flats. I love tennis shoes. Even now as an adult, that's what I loved to wear in high school, was like a cute pair of black flats, something that could slip on and off that was easy. And a t-shirt. I probably have 50 t-shirts at home. I love t-shirts and jeans. It's just comfy. But, you know, every now and then I like to dress up. My current favorite is a dress I thrifted in London. But I would have loved that then too. It's red and has poppies all over it. So I love it. But yeah, anyways, so that's it. I'm finished.
Mark Maloney, tell us about your high school
I bet he was dapper.
clothing.
I'm pre-bell bottom.
Yes.
So yeah, so I graduated in '67, and I transferred to after I graduated from St. Joseph's. I transferred to St. Mary's in Pennsylvania, and we wore a coat and tie every day.
Wow.
And after say a couple of years of no girls, I decided this was not for me, and I transferred to Marietta. And in my generation, it was kind of preppy. That was all there was to it. I mean, there was no real choice, and guys didn't put too much time into it. But I did, when I was 15, go to work at Saul's. And so I worked in the men's department. I was the boy salesman. And Mr. Saul and Mr. Goldstein would take me to the merchandise mart to buy youthful clothing, this was, you know, the youth generation, right? 60s. And so I get to pick out all the stuff.
Wow, you were a buyer.
Oh yeah, I became like a little boy buyer.
Oh, wow. How fun.
Wow.
And so years later, I'm walking down Piastra Street, going to Georgia State, and this short little fat guy across Peachtree yells out to me, "Hey Rosenblum, where you been?" Here's the reason I was Rosenblum. Because the first time Mr. Goldstein took me down there, he said, "You know, Mark, I didn't bring a badge for you, but my cousin, Mark Rosenblum, couldn't make it. So he would wear his badge."
That is so funny.
And so the next year, Rosenblum couldn't make it again. I was so stupid. But in the South, you know, Rich's, Macy's, Saul's, it was the Jewish Mercantile Club.
We were peddlers.
Yeah, they were peddlers. It was great. And it took me a couple of years to figure that out. So my nickname, so I'm walking down the beach street. One of the guys I'm walking with is Murray Silver.
Push it again.
Okay. So Murray and I would play tennis at the
Pass it to me, let me see if I can
at the
get
Jewish
that.
Community Club on Peachtree.
Oh.
And so he said, "Rosenblum."
Yeah, it's back.
He said, "What's the story? Did you convert?" So he called me Rosenblum to this day. And he lives in Savannah. He's a writer. And what was the movie about the rock and roll singer that got killed in the crash?
Buddy Holly.
So he wrote the script for that Buddy Holly movie. Murray did.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're still friends.
That's
So
so
anyway,
awesome.
so we had Saul's, Goldstein's, Johnny Walker's if you had the money. Okay, that's where you went to get the alligator belt. And if you needed something super special, you went to the Buckhead Men's Store.
Oh.
That was uptown. So anyway, the only picture I have is, let's see, this one here, and I'll pass it around, but it's of our family, and I'm actually already in college, and you see, it's long hair and a beard. I had about a year or two of that. I'm finished.
Thank you. Barbara, tell us about your teenage clothing. Yeah, you want to say something?
I gotta ask a question.
Yeah.
The Buckhead Men's Store,
Yeah.
the old fellow
Yeah, thank
that ran the Buckhead Men's Store, what was his name?
I don't remember.
The little fellow.
Yeah.
When he was very old, he was a customer of mine at a restoration shop where we worked on old cars.
Really?
And he looked me up because he had bought a Morgan.
Oh, boy.
And somebody had monkeyed with his Morgan and kind of monkeyed it up.
Ooh, that sounds
And
illicit.
I had the hard job of explaining to him that I'm going to have to take a lot of stuff apart to put some little things back together and go back with it. And he was very, 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 very sweet about it. But when he came to get his car, he was little enough and fragile enough, like we're all going, that I had to pick him up and set him in his car. And he was thrilled to death. He was a wonderful, wonderful guy. And I remember I was to his house one time on Paces Ferry Road, but I cannot for the life of me think of his name. As soon as you said Buckhead Men's Store, I'm like,
You probably can Google it. It may be on some historical website or something.
well, anyway, he had a navy blue Morgan.
Well, I'm glad his car wasn't called a Johnson. Then you would have said monkeyed with his Johnson. Sounds like a medical issue.
Okay, now back to you, Barbara.
Sorry.
Okay,
Got four.
golly, it just is weird hearing myself. I was not a clothes horse at all. I just, I did like flares, but Levi's were it. I mean, blue jeans, corduroys, whatever, it was Levi's all the way. And dresses weren't, big in my high school because I was there. I graduated in '77, so it was, just not the same as grammar school. But my mom didn't really, we didn't go with the fancy stuff at my house. My parents grew up in the Depression, so she was very frugal. We weren't poor by any means. Dad worked at Lockheed, and he was the sole breadwinner, and Mom was a stay-at-home mom. But she just was very frugal. We went on vacations. We ate good food. We went to summer camp every year. But the big stuff like it was no. Get some outfits at Christmas, mostly probably from Richway. So most of my friends were down at the Shoals, Martin's Landing at the Shoals by the river, and wearing shorts and stuff. And I'm like, I can't wear shorts with my skin because I just am a burn and peel kind of person.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah. And then they're wearing halter tops or tube tops, and I'm like, I don't have enough to hold up a tube top. So,
Right,
so,
I was the same way.
yeah, and a halter top, forget it.
Yeah.
Just one little flip and, it's gone. So, anyway, that's...
Very cute.
That was it.
Yeah.
Jim, tell us about your clothing.
My wife left out one thing very important about her style and her inclination and her youth.
You're not talking into the
is because, well, her interest mostly revolved around horses and people that played with horses. And so any picture and she would never stand still for anybody to take a picture of her. Almost any picture you see of her in earlier times, there's a pony or a horse or something to do with horses, and it's in a barn, and she's dressed like somebody who just got off of a horse or was fixing to get on one. And they're real cute pictures, but once again, if we'd known, I might would have snuck them out of the house. But so,
About you now.
okay, growing up, I was never a style-conscious person, and I more or less wore whatever my mom picked out or my aunts gave me. And so my nicer stuff typically came from, my aunts or my grandmothers or somebody that had some clothing taste or whatnot. Rich's was the hot place to get clothes, and most of the nice stuff I ever had, if I had my first suit, anything like that, shiny shoes, Sunday school stuff, it came from Rich's. Everything else came from Sears Roebuck. That's where you get your clothes, your tires, your whatever. Sears they don't realize what they missed out by forgetting who bought their stuff, because now they're Sam's Club and all that kind of same thing. But I was never a clothes horse. Blue jeans and t-shirts, whatever was simple. Those are clothes that if it was clothes that fit and they were comfortable, that's good enough for me. The clothes that I couldn't stand came along, I guess, after I graduated from high school. I used to wonder how any person who was not really, really inebriated or had good vision could see themselves wearing a leisure suit.
My father loved them.
I thought that's right.
My father mourned the day they went out of style.
Well, I was actually forced to own one at one time.
Oh, really?
And it got...
You still have it?
Are you? It died accidentally in a fire.
You killed it.
It didn't die.
It melted.
That's it. It accidentally it melted in front of the spotlight. But that's about my history with clothing. My current fashion superstore is Tractor Supply.
Tractor Supply.
Bib overalls.
They have Liberty overalls, in case anyone give you a sales pitch for Liberty overalls. They're American cotton, they're made by Americans in America, and they're sturdy, they're nice, and they fit well, and they, for somebody like me who no longer has the physique that will hold up pants without the belt being too tight, or suspenders, and you can't buy suspenders that aren't made in China, so the little clips give away. Those bib overalls, they got the suspenders built in. They're not coming off. So if you put the size right.
Jim, put it on pause. What do you have?
This is the chef's apple pie with some homemade whipped cream.
Oh,
and yours, I got gluten-free and dairy-free vanilla gelato I'm going to put on top for you.
Thank you, John.
Okay?
There's Jim and his wing cat.
This is your uniform.
Very well.
Yep. Very good. Back to you.
Well, anyway, so, and the nice thing about them And I don't carry a tablet or one of those electronic, Chinese surveillance devices that most people have. But it just happens that a tablet will fit in either back pocket or in the front pocket, protected from the rain. I've learned how to put whatever I'm hauling around with me in one of the pockets. And I can even go from the house way out into the yard to work on things and have screwdriver sockets, whatever,
You got it all there.
I got it in there I even have a work belt, so, style, function over style.
Okay, what about going to the bathroom?
Yeah, that's not.
It's not.
Do they have
Hey,
no, you
zippers?
just
Oh yeah, they got
clip.
they got zippers, but you just unclip one side.
Yeah.
And if you're feeling fat that day, you can undo the buttons on the side. But
Right,
They just,
right.
they just flop down.
I've got some.
And when you pull them down, if you sit down and then fold the front over, you got a place.
That's him and his wing cap.
You got a place to put your computer or your notebook or whatever you're working on. So you don't even have to stop working if you go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay.
I'm done.
Well, I'm the closer, speaking of clothes, and growing up, clothes really were not that important to me. My brother, who's 2 years older, he loved clothes. All the money he earned, he would buy, and he bought Izod shirts, the little alligators. And at the time, in the early days, you couldn't buy them in Cobb County. You had to go to Atlanta.
Wow.
And they were expensive. And when you wore that little Izod thing, you're telling the world that I overpaid for this shirt. Okay? I've got enough money that, and another thing that was a status symbol was an alligator belt. I remember at Marietta, 8th grade, 9th grade, you had to have an alligator belt, and they were expensive too. And I had an alligator belt that I wore for like 30 years until it literally fell off. But clothing was not that important to me. And I loved being in the military because you had a uniform. You didn't have to waste time deciding what am I going to wear today, what's going to match. And let's talk about shoes a little bit. When there were the tassel loafers, that were brown, light brown, and leather, and you could, once the soles got holes in them, you had them resoled. Nowadays, shoes you just throw away. There was a shoe store right here on Church Street, and we'd go there and they would resole and put a new heel on there, but shoes nowadays are disposable. But anyway, I love jeans. And of course, college wore a lot of jeans and t-shirts. But I did ultimately have Izod shirts. And matter of fact, I went through some stuff, and there's several pictures of me with the little alligator on there. But so anyway, I'm finished. Now, we're going to open up now. Does anybody have a follow-up question or follow-up story along the theme of clothing? So pass it down. Pass it down. And put it down. Here.
Kathy, I had one of those red coats from Joanne's. I love that coat. It was just awesome. And the tube top thing, again, I didn't have enough to keep on my knees, so you'd run and you're like running like this, holding the tube top. So I have a white tube top, and I loved it. But I spent a lot of time up at the Marietta Police Department because
we're wearing a tube top.
Because in high school, my cousin worked in the police department, so I spent a lot of time around the policemen. So a lot of times I'd have to make sure what I had on I could wear to the police department because I spent a lot of time up there and got to know a lot of the policemen, and because also Rex Robinson, his dad was the police chief. It was just like awesome. He was, Rex was in our class, he was on the football team, and then his dad was the chief of police, so we all spent a lot of time hanging around the police department. It was a group of us, and we did.
I thought maybe your tube top slipped down and you were arrested.
No, I'm sorry.
And it just kept happening.
Remember what happened
I'm not going to wear that one up to the police department. But, that red coat, I love that coat.
I kept mine.
Right, pass it to her. Now, we can't. Yeah, close.
I kept mine and wore mine till it literally fell apart. I just loved that coat. It was so bright, so shiny, and plus it felt good on too. It really did. And the two tops, I couldn't even wear those until way after I got married.
Now pass it over to
But
Martha.
I
has
did
something.
wear bikinis though.
Martha.
I remembered one other story, and I think Matt would appreciate this from the legal standpoint. But because I shopped so much at Rich's Cobb Center, and they let me come back summers between college, and I would work that summer. And I thought, well, I just may go into buying, as a profession, because I just love that. So when I got to Georgia, I talked them into letting me, I was going to go back one summer, and they were going to give me 10 hours credit for working if I would write a paper. So I thought, well, that'd be great. So I wrote a paper, and I got the 10 hours credit, but over that summer I decided that I no longer wanted to major in that. But one of the reasons I did decide that, I was like assistant manager or whatever, the Women's Wood Valley shop, where the women would shop for clothing. And I was the youngest person there. There were these nice older ladies who just took care of me, but we had a situation that they assigned to me because we'd have a young man, he would come sneaking in there and sneak into the women's dressing room and spy on the women changing.
Oh my God.
And so they told me to be on the lookout for this guy. They didn't want to handle it, so I'm supposed to be on the lookout for him. So one time they come to me and they say, well, he's back there. He's in the women's dressing room. So I had to run back there, and of course, he ran out. I did briefly see him, but I said, well, I can't, we didn't catch him. I can't really describe him, I don't think.
Right, so you can't eat.
But it was the end of my summer. I went back to Georgia. Oh, before I went though, they were going to give me a going away party, the ladies at Rich's, and it was going to be in the, Rich's had the nice restaurant where they served that wonderful coconut cake and pound cake and all that wonderful, in the, what do they call it, the Rich's tea room or something. But anyway, they gave me a nice going away party and gift wrapped all these packages, and this big box was gift wrapped. They said, open that last. So I opened it up, and they'd taken the hand off a mannequin. It was in the box, and it had a subpoena. And they said, you have been served. And I had to come back from Georgia on the trial date where they found this guy.
Testify.
And I was going to have to testify. And I said, I just don't really remember much about him. But thankfully, even though I came back and I was available, he did not show for his court date. And then I never heard anything else about it. So I don't know what happened to him.
Jumped bail.
I guess he jumped bail. But I thankfully did not have to testify.
Well, that's interesting.
Hannah,
Tell everybody.
everybody get apple pie? Thank you.
Does anybody want a dessert that didn't get it?
Can I get a coffee? Yeah.
Coffee?
Three coffees, 4 coffees.
With some cream, maybe?
4 coffees, I'll do some cream on the side for you, and some sweetener. No sweet.
Okay, Hannah, you have the
Yes,
floor.
I have a follow-up I'd like to add. It's not my memory, it's someone else's. I don't know if anyone at this table knows Mary Lou Cagle, but she was a graduate of Marietta High School in 1952, and I believe she is the longest, I don't want to say the longest living, but she's lived on Seminole Drive longer than anyone on that street. Her father built the house that she currently lives in, and she is my right-hand lady. She always looks at my OM posts, or I share things with her first before I post them to make sure I try to get it right as often as I can. But she has her her basketball championship sweater. And when I went to visit her, she pulled it out to show it to me. And it has these lovely patches on both arms. It's wool. And she told me that when they won the championship her senior year, they didn't get those championship sweaters until about March or April, which it was still a little chilly, but she really didn't get to really wear it until May. And she says, I remember being so proud of that sweater, and I wore it every day to school, even when it was 85 degrees outside, and I would walk to school and be a sweaty mess, but I didn't care because I was so proud of that sweater. And I just wanted to share that, so thank you.
Yes, microphone, please. Pass it down. Question into the microphone.
Okay, we went to high school. All of us in this class went to high school with a bunch of Kegels, and they were all extraordinary athletes.
Yes, yeah.
Are they relatives of her?
Yes.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think she's the aunt of Jim Cagle and Bob.
Yes, correct.
The aunt, the great aunt or aunt? Okay. When as soon as I heard that, I knew that had
Yeah,
to be
it's
that
Bob
same
Cagle
thing.
and Jim Cagle, football players.
Karen's testimony about building her own clothes. I don't know if y'all remember Patty Eakes.
Yeah.
Who was in that class. Petite little gal, cute little thing, musician, a lot of personality. Where she was always extremely stylish, and once I finally got to be friends with her, you know, we got to be buddies, and we had a lot to talk about music and other kind of things. But I was fascinated with her clothes because her clothes were always unique. They were always different, and they always fit her perfectly. And she was like, "What's because I make them up." She designed and made her own clothes, and I think some of the girls in our class that didn't know her were a little bit, you know, they were like, "How come she's got all these fancy clothes? What's the deal with that?" You know, they were kind of how the girls could be kind of catty about, you know, well, she got that and I don't. Well, she did because she knew how to make them herself. And when I got interested in that, she actually showed me how she made patterns and figured out how to make the dimensions and all that kind of stuff.
Wow, she
You know,
made her own patterns.
yeah, she designed and made her own stuff.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty impressive.
I wonder what she's doing now. Maybe
I have no idea. She was at her 30th.
She's not very healthy.
And she had some.
I know.
I invited her to come to the monthly recurring, her health is so bad that she rarely gets out. And I'm not sure exactly the ailments plural, but I mean, it was very bad. But anyway. Okay, yeah, so pass it to Mark.
So I don't remember anybody, we were not allowed to wear blue jeans. I remember that. And I got suspended from Marietta twice. Once for not wearing socks.
Oh my
But
God.
the transgression that was so major. And the second time was my friend Frank Hunter had somehow come up with a couple of pair of County Farm prison pants that were striped, and we wore those, and we got both suspended for that. So the dress code in those days was pretty severe.
I don't think they had a dress code. I think they just made things up. And if they didn't like it, they would say, "Oh, you can't do that."
Well, that's all I have to say about the dress code. I mean, can you really imagine it said you can't wear prison stripe pants? Or you can't wear, you have to wear socks? I mean, come on.
I think a couple of years later, they just gave up.
That's what I think.
But you know, I think.
Wait, pass it down.
ready for prime time.
You know.
Push the button.
Thank you. But you know, I do believe they said that the boys' hair had to be cut a certain way, and they had to wear collared shirts. And I do know, you know, you had to look a certain way, or you got expelled. That's all there was to it.
Anybody follow up?
But it's amazing.
Oh, wait.
Oh, okay. It's really, I don't think it's microphone worthy, my comments.
It is. Put it up close.
But what I think is shocking, not because I'm a prude or anything,
the teachers, the way they dress now. You know,
Oh.
really short shorts or short skirts. I mean, I remember when I went to high school, you know, before that, the male teachers all had to wear like a coat and tie. And I walked into social studies class in 9th grade, and the teacher was like leaning against his desk with his arms crossed, wearing jeans and a shirt, you know, without a tie. And I was like, wow, this is like a different planet. So I don't know if you experienced that down here too, but now they're really casual, you know, tattoos everywhere, and so, anyway.
I tell you what, before you go, we want to do a group photo in there, but right now, I'm going to turn the microphone off and y'all just freestyle it here. You can break up in, we've had one group conversation, now you can have an individual conversation. You're on your own, and before, go to the bathroom, and we'll go out there and have a picture.